I'm very honored to participate at today's conference organized by the National Taiwan University, NTU, which is part of a conference series that aims to allow the students to develop curiosity and cultural relativism awareness when confronted with global challenges. NTU is renowned as one of the best universities in the world. NTU is a place of knowledge which forms leaders to face the challenges of the world. I'm glad, as the ambassador of Haiti, to take advantage of this brilliant program to invite the curious and amazing minds that you are to discover Haiti. I think the first slide is a question I will ask to you, all participate at this conference. This is the question: who here has ever heard of Haiti? Haiti is located in the Western Hemisphere. It is the third largest country in the Caribbean after Cuba and the Dominican Republic. As they can see in the zoom we made in the picture, this is an island, a very small country. Maybe not very small, but by territory, it's a small country. We are in the Caribbean and we share our borders with the Dominican Republic. Haiti has 5 mountain ranges, cover 70% of Haiti's land superficie. As you can see in the note we put next to the pictures in the slide, Haiti covers an area of 27,750 square kilometers with an estimated population of 12 millions. That's mean Haiti is an island, as I said already. We share borders with the Dominican Republic, and unfortunately, the Dominican Republic has most of the land. But it's okay. Now, let's present a bit Haiti. Haiti has a fascinating history that accounts for its rich cultural patrimony. Founded on January 1st, 1804 by black revolutionaries who overthrew the Western colonialist and slave system on the scared principle of liberty and equality of rights for all men, irrespective of race, social class, and other differences. Haiti emerged on the world stage as a beacon of freedom. With its, let's say, 218 years of existence, Haiti is a free state whose history, like every country, has gone through difficult times and whose resilience always managed to overcome them alone or sometimes with the help of certain international partners. And one of our partners is Taiwan. Taiwan, a country with which we established diplomatic relations since April 1956. And as you can see on the slide, over the decades, the relations strengthened to the rich Haitian-Taiwanese cooperation that we have today. Haiti has 55 Haitian diplomatic and consular representation around the world, and our embassy here in Taiwan is one of them. We have a website. If students in National Taiwan University want to know more about Haiti, they can visit our website. The link is in the slide. They can see it. Yes, exactly. They can visit our website to know more about the Haitian history, Haitian culture, and so on. The title, the theme of this conference today, as Professor Yuan said, is the right of peoples to self-determination, the cornerstone of Haiti's diplomatic doctrine. For sure, when we talk about Haiti, or when someone asks you to talk about Haiti, the first thing that will maybe come up in your mind would be to talk about the Haitian culture. But when this invitation was sent to me, I was wondering about what kind of things we can present to the students here in National Taiwan University to know more about Haiti, something that they will discover. Because Haitian culture, Haitian authors, Haitian painting, they will find it everywhere. There's many articles in different newspapers, famous all over the world. That means they can have it. But I wanted to bring something different. And it's talk about the cornerstone of Haiti's diplomatic doctrine, the right of people to self-determination. The objective of this conference is to show Haiti's commitment to the freedom of peoples. First, as a means for consolidating its independence, then as a fierce defender of human dignity as a vital principle of its independence, and finally, as a doctrine of its foreign policy. This is the objective of this conference, and I hope we can reach, or we will reach it. The plan of this conference, this is the plan, I shared to you. It will be first a definition, the definition of the right of people to self-determination. And then we will see in the second time the state of the world during the 18th century. After it will be the distinctive character of the three greatest revolutions of the 18th century, the United States Revolution, the French Revolution, and after, the Haitian Revolution. And we will see why, after the Haitian Revolution, Haiti will certainly, for sure, become independent. But in this world, at this period, Haiti was or will be alone. After, we will see Haiti and its vocation of freedom. And then after, we will conclude our conference. Let's see now the right of people of self-determination. This concept, the right of people of self-determination, denotes the right of people to decide their own destiny in the international order, which we are talking about the national order, appears with the creation of the United Nations and the UN Chapter, which in its first article stipulates that one of the purposes of the UN is to develop friendly relations between nations based on respect for the principle of the equal rights of peoples and the right of self-determination, and to take all other appropriate measures to consolidate peace in the world. When we talk about self-determination, for contemporary authors, they distinguish internal self-determination and external self-determination. When they talk about internal determination, it refers to various political and social rights. These are, in a way, the economic, social, and cultural rights of a state with regards to its people. By contrast, international or external self-determination refers to full legal independence or secession for the given people from the larger political legal states. Several theses maintain that the right to self-determination, the external approach, was consecrated to give a legal basis to the self-determination of colonized people. If at the time of the creation of the United Nations, a fertile ground for the self-determination of people was to follow, the previous years were dominated by a contrary order. It was the colonization. It's important to know more about the colonization, because if we know nothing about colonization, about slavery, we can't understand the history of Haiti. Let's see what the world was during the 18th century. But to know that, we have to know that since the arrival of Christopher Columbus in the Caribbean waters or sea in 1492 in search of spices, Westerners have been amazed by the riches displayed by these countries. Thus, they decided to colonize these lands in the sense of settling there to profit from them. Faced with the displays of wealth of Spain, the colonial adventure was to continue through other European countries. That's why in the picture here, you will see each color is related to some slavery empire. Green, for instance, all countries you see in green is for the United Kingdom, and so on. The world at this period was divided in empire, and this empire was colonial empire. Through slavery, to make the system, they organized something they call at this period the triangular slave Strait. They keep slaves in Africa, they travel with them, go to America, and make them work for them without slavery. What does that mean? When you colonize a country, you use the population of this country for your own. You use all the riches of these countries for yours, and you build your wealth. This is what happened to American countries when Westerners discovered this continent. They completely changed this continent they discovered by a slavery in a colonized continent. That's why, unfortunately for them, I'm talking about this country, unfortunately for the Westerners, they became richer, and this country, unfortunately, they became very poor. And you have many power, England Empire, French Empire, Spanish Empire, and so on. So we will find three revolutions in the 18th century because of the age of enlightenment, and it will happen a sort of change in the world because many interesting and brilliant minds will come up with some new ideas and completely question this order of the world which used the slavery to build riches. And three particular revolutions will happen in this period. This is the United States of America Revolution, the French Revolution, and the Haiti Revolution. But there's a difference between these three revolutions. And it's important to understand that, because other than that, you wouldn't understand the impact and the effect or the contribution of the Haitian Revolution. For instance, the United States of America, for sure, it became a new state, but still remains slavery. For the French, they maintain slavery and still a colonized country. But Haiti was different. The Haitian Revolution was completely different because Haiti broke with colonization and abolished slavery in 1804. Recognizing equal rights for all, irrespective of race, social status, and other discriminatory factors. You can understand in a world dominated by the colonialism system, the slavery, and a small country with slaves became independent and create their own state. What you think would happen in this world? Let's see. Unfortunately, Haiti is independent, but alone, because it was the only country in the world where black people can live without afraid with slavery. are being put in slavery. The slavery or the colonization system was, the Haitian Revolution was threatened. This system was threatened by the independence of Haiti, which was a bad example for all the colonies or for the slavery itself, which was based on the human exploitation of black. During this period, you need to know that the Western system exploit black people. And for that, colonial powers conspired, and it's important, conspired to apply sanction against Haiti because it dared to transform a colony of slaves through the only successful slave revolution registered in history. It was a bad example. And they did everything to stop this. Haiti was alone, but Haiti was independent. Even Haiti was alone, but Haiti still strong. To do that, to blame the sanction against Haiti, first, what they do, they didn't recognize the independence of Haiti. Okay, you are a country, but we don't recognize you. We will not deal with you. We will not do business with you. We will not send ambassadors in your country, and so on. So Haiti was isolated. And France, for instance, will wait more than 20 years to recognize the independence of Haiti. But believe me, they didn't recognize the independence of Haiti just because they love Haiti. They asked to recognize the independence of Haiti only if Haiti accepts to pay. It's very difficult. So you struggle for your independence, you struggle for your freedom, and you beat the country, and the country conspires against you, and he's back and asks, you have to pay for your freedom. My God. Look at, they forced country to pay an amount. France asked Haiti to pay 150 million gold francs in total in a period of 5 years. I'm sorry, but it's crazy. When they ask Haiti to pay for its freedom 150 million francs, and the same France, the country, France, sent Louisiana to the United States for only 15 million francs. When the Louisiana is 64 times as much land than Haiti. It's clear that was a big conspiracy against Haiti. A historian said the Louisiana purchase has been described as the greatest deal, as the greatest real estate deal in history. But another historian said the Haitian debt, the money they forced Haiti to pay, was the biggest haste in the history made to a country. But Haiti pay, it's okay. But Haiti is not a weak country. We're small, but we're smart. We know about the conspiracy, and we find a way to deal with it. And that's why our founders start with a new vocation for the country. Because there was an asking in the world. The world was colonized at this period. But now we need new friends. We need people who have the need to struggle for their freedom. And Haiti started this new policy to consolidate its independence and give in the refusal of the countries of the time to recognize his independence itself as an apostle of freedom. And during our history, since 1804, our policy, I can say, is divided. Let's say this vocation of freedom was divided in our history in three different phases. The first one is the one we will start with our founders, advocate for black freedom and rehabilitation worldwide. And secondly, it was the support of Haiti for the struggle for self-determination of other oppressed peoples. And at the end, the contribution of Haiti and its vocation for freedom was its presence in international organizations by defending and standing for the value of freedom. We will see all this together, and I really hope that we have time. We didn't use usefully the time we have. Haiti, the promotion of human dignity and the advocacy for black freedom and rehabilitation worldwide. The picture you see in the slide is a slave. This man is a common picture they use in the United States. You will find it in several books, particularly a major book. I don't remember, unfortunately, the name of the author, but the book is L'Odyssée Noire. It's a postface by Roger Roudy. I don't remember, unfortunately, the name of the main author, but this is a major book, and you will find this picture in it. To understand this contribution made by Haiti, you have to know that black men were victims of slavery. Black men, they come from the African continent. In Africa, you're supposed to know, I'm sure of that when the big civilizations started in the world, it was in Africa with Egypt, a country which create letters, right, and so on. So Africa was, they call it in French, le berceau de la civilisation humaine. So in Africa, for over 400 years, more than 50 million men, women, and children fell victim to the dramatic transatlantic slave trade. Maybe you wouldn't understand what does that mean. It's more than the population of Haiti now, because Haiti is only 12 million population. That means it's more than the population of Haiti. 15 million men. They use them. And to understand the contribution of Haiti, because Haiti, black dignity will be rehabilitated in three ways with the Haitian Revolution. The first rehabilitation is Haiti create a country where slavery does not exist. That said, blacks everywhere now have a place where they can hope to live free without fear of being forced into slavery. And secondly, it will then develop, I'm talking about Haiti, a policy of conditioning the support of Haiti to any country that want to declare itself independent of a metropolis, the general freedom of slave in the world territory of the state. And the other contribution of Haiti, the Haitian Revolution, to the rehabilitation of black dignity, is the birth of a literature that rehabilitates the capacity of black. Major work will be born from this adventure. The most famous of which is the anthropological text by Antenor Firmin titled Of the Equality of Human Races, a response to a book written by a racist intellectual Western named Inequality of Human Races. And this Haitian author write a book, a famous one, when he states that humans are equal all over the world. And now we will see, because as we said, after the vocation of liberty, there's first an advocacy for black freedom, but there is also the support of Haiti for the struggle of self-determination of other oppressed people. And these are some countries in different continents Haiti contributed to the freedom or independence. Venezuela, but the Great Colombia in 1819, Mexico, 1820, and Greece, 1821. Let's see a bit these different countries. The support of Haiti for struggle for self-determination and the Great Colombia. For the liberation of Great Colombia, Haiti has given many support at different times for different leaders. The first one was in 1806 with Miranda. He came in Haiti, asked for support to our founder, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and Dessalines helped him, give him support to start the struggle. And the second support was given in December 1815 to January 1816. It was from Pétion to Simon Bolivar. Simon Bolivar, they call him the liberator, the one who gives freedom. That's how they call him in the Latin America. And finally, because unfortunately when Simon Bolivar started his struggle against the Spanish army, they defeat him, and he will come back in Haiti, ask again for support, and Pétion helped him. And this time he will win. I remember a story about that because Simon Bolivar said to Pétion, "You are a very generous man. In every country, I will start the struggle. I will say to all the people that we will give the freedom that you are the libertador." Pétion said to them, "There's no need for that. There's no need for me to be the libertador or the libertador of this country, of these people. You made this struggle. You started. The only thing I need from you is to declare freedom in all this territory for everybody. Freedom for everybody. This is the principle and the condition of my help to you. Please, declare freedom everywhere, because slavery is the thing we are struggling against." And this country became independent in 1819. The Great Colombia became independent, and what we call today the Great Colombia, you will see the picture here. This is the American continent, and here is the South America. And you will see this is a big picture because what we call today the Great Colombia is not the Colombia we know, the Colombia we know today. The Great Colombia was Venezuela, Ecuador, Colombia, and also Panama. But these countries were divided after 1830. After Venezuela, Haiti also gave contribution to Mexico. General Mina had organized the revolution against the Spanish army. He presented himself in Haitian waters at Port-au-Prince with 2 boats and asked for support. Pétion showed the same kindness to this general by providing him with ammunition, money, and provision. And 4 years after, Mexico will proclaim its independence. But one thing we will see with this country when they became independent, and it's something, I understand it, but I just want to highlight it in this conference. For Venezuela, for instance, when they proclaimed the independence in 1819, only 1 year after, Spain recognized the independence. Remember that Haiti became independent and they wait for more than 20 years to recognize, and they conspirate against Haiti. But Haiti, the Haitian policy was what? To have new friends. And the only way to have new friends is to help other countries to become independent. And that's what Haiti did. And one of the countries Haiti also given his support to become independent is Greece. Greece is in Europe, not in Latin America, not a Latin American country. Greece is in Europe. And at this period, Greece was threatened by the Turkish occupiers. And Haiti not only recognized the independence of France, but before that, Haiti given his contribution to the Greek strugglers. And in recognition, in 1935, Princess Marina of Greece visited Haiti to express her country's gratitude for Haiti's contribution to the struggle against Turkish domination. And more recently, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Greek Minister of Foreign Affairs, made a tweet of recognition of the support of Haiti in the struggle for independence. Now we will see the participation of Haiti, also its contribution, its presence, and the human dignity, the black people dignity, also in international organization. But first we start with the League of Nations. It was a very shy participation because it was a short period of time. But Haiti was one of the few countries at this period to be part of this important and prestigious international organization. You can see here the list, just a few countries. And those, besides, are countries invited to join the League of Nations. Now, this is Haiti and the United Nations. This is our delegation. You can see it in the picture. Haiti has been a founding member of the United Nations since 1845. And we give a lot of contribution by different interesting intellectuals. We represent our countries in this world and prestigious organization. We participate in the writing of the Declaration of Human Rights, and we had an intellectual, political personality, the Senator Emil Cello. He was the rapporteur of the drafting committee of the UDHR. Haiti is also one of the first countries to join UNESCO in 1946. This is Emil Cello. This is someone in Haiti. He is someone in Haiti that we really love. Unfortunately, he didn't leave any book, any papers, but his work talked for him. Emil Cello was a Haitian politician, lawyer, and journalist. He served as the first ambassador of Haiti to the United Nations and a member of the Security Council responsible for the voting on the independence of countries. So we will see particularly the contribution of this man in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, because he gave a lot of contribution. As I said before, he was the rapporteur. And he contributed to the independence of Somalia, the independence of Israel, and the independence of Libya. But the most important thing that we can remember about Emil Cello, because of his contribution to the independence of Libya, in this country, you will find a word that we know the name or have the name of Emil Cello, just as a recognition of his contribution to the independence of Libya. Because without Emil Cello, Libya wouldn't be an independent state. But Haiti not only participate on the independence, particularly of African countries. Haiti given more than that. From the beginning of the Second World War to the end of the 1960s, about 20 territories gained independence in Africa, particularly, and Haiti played an important role there at that time through the trusteeship council, to which was entrusted the administration of the supervision of territories that can become independent. And as we said already, Emil Cello led that commission. And one thing else Haiti organized, it was to welcome this country, this new member of this international organization, because of its major role, the major role Haiti played. Our delegation organized. We organized a sumptuous dinner in honor of the delegates. Haiti at this period was a famous leader. And unfortunately, in the world, we didn't have all these countries. But Haiti was one of the few countries to defend the freedom. Also, the contribution of Haiti in Africa was not only to help them to become independent, but more than that. In addition to the diplomatic contribution of Haiti to the decolonization of Africa, the First Black Republic also contributed to help these new states, which having become independent and had serious problems, international institutional weaknesses resulting from the absence of local framework able to fill the void left by the departure of the colonial agent. And what Haiti will do at this period, it will be to provide to these countries professionals, to provide to these countries doctors, professors, different other specialists, engineers, judge. And our government at this period accompanied the UNESCO to give this kind of contribution. And country with benefit from this was Congo, Dahomey we call today Benin, Guinea, Togo, Rwanda, Burundi. And the Guinean government employed at this period more than 300 Haitian professionals. This is here in an article published in a Haitian newspaper. This is the first contingent of Haitian teachers for Congo. We send Haitian teachers to Congo. And this is the time now to conclude, because everything we start at a period of time, we need to finish it. And I think this is the time now to conclude our conference. But there's something that I wanted to share with you. This is a quote of a Cuban historian, something that he said about Haiti. And the first time that I read this quote, it was deeper in me, and I keep it. He said, "It is neither by the size of the territory, nor by the levels of social economic development that Haiti is among the first nations of the continent. The greatness of Haiti is not measured in square miles of area in terms of per capita income, in millions of national revenues, but rather in milestone and a history forged with valor and audacity, and years of self-sacrifice and struggle and the supreme moment of glory." The name of this historian is Guillermo de Zendigi. We started by a question. We asked, what do you know about Haiti? I didn't know the answer, but you start to reply. And many of you maybe knew something about Haiti. But now it's not the most important. It's not what you know. It's not if you know something about Haiti. The most important for me now is what you know about Haiti. This is my question. After this conference, what do you remember about Haiti? They say many things about Haiti, but believe me, it doesn't match to what we are, to who we are as a people. Every Haitian, we know who we are. And what we want now, because we know already who we are, what we want is what you remember about Haiti. This is a question. Please continue to ask as we did for the first one. I don't know how they do it, but it's a good way. It's very interesting. You can start by asking. And I will not stop. I won't stop. I know, I hope they will allow me to continue while you continue to ask the question. But I'm sure that maybe you want to know more about Haiti. I was talking about the history, our contribution to human being, to the self-determination of peoples. But Haiti is more than that. Haiti is a courageous people today, a people which use colors. We can transform everything in a beautiful thing. Haiti is an artist people. We put color in everything. This is Haiti. We can change everything with our mind, with our love, with our heart. And this is why we call Haiti a land with a soul. Thank you.